Coast to Coast, Ted Broer with us, and we're going to take calls with Ted in a moment as well. Ted, let's go back to Morgellons, however people pronounce this thing. What are these little fibers that are sticking out of people?
Well, they're a cross-domain species. It's an insect combined with a plant combined with a fungus. It's a very complicated technology in how they did this. But what they do is they spray you with the synthetic DNA, which allows them to control you with the piezoelectric crystals and the energy fields with the stuff they do to you. But let's go ahead and start on the Morgellons and go into detail. These are basically nanotags, George. They're used primarily to track people. They're self-replicating hollow fibers. They read your DNA, transforms it into a radio signal to broadcast information through basically smartphones, the iPads. It basically ties you into this entire matrix. It's not a big deal if your body is prepared, it can handle it. But if your body's weak due to really bad diets, or if you've got a lot of yeast in your system, or you're contaminated with heavy metals like vaccines, it can really wreak havoc on your system. And the way they make it work is as an antenna. They're using the HARP technology as a source, the antenna systems around the planet, including the Doppler radar systems, the sea-based radar domes, the Gwen towers, the cell towers. They use the compounds aluminum, barium, and strontium. This is part of the military and intelligence community. They've done this together. Number one, they use piezoelectric crystal spraying and absorb it into your system, through the chemtrails. That allows you to shift frequency by converting microwave and biodigestible light. This sends light into the DNA, reading it out into the DNA of the body. This is processed by the Morgellons antenna, and it's processed by the intelligence community to read our state of mind. It can also insert the energy through HARP or the antenna fields or the Gwen towers to control our minds. The information is connected to quantum computers. This is the artificial intelligence that I talked about earlier, which can be used to insert neuro-linguistic programming. So it makes you have a very angry, like remember a couple of months ago, they had this massive riot broke out in the Louisville Mall, and there were 1,500 people beating each other up for no reason. I don't know if it was used there, but it could have been used there. This controls the intention field, which controls the hologram of the planet. These demons or whatever, these fallen angels or whatever you want to call it, doing all of this stuff, they know that we can control our reality by our thinking. Therefore, they want to turn our thinking upside down. They want to do everything as backwards from what God wants.
Are they experimenting on us, Ted, at this point?
Oh, no, they've dialed it in.
That's already done.
Now. Yeah, the quantum computer only picks up war, so it manipulates the attention field for more war, more stress, more anxiety. This the technology, like I mentioned earlier, that was used, for a satanic sacrifice, and that's why the Bible tells us to think on the good, think from above, not thinking all this negative stuff. It's kind of like, George, you get up in the morning, and you and your wife or your husband get into a big fight and start yelling at each other. The rest of the day usually ends up bad. Okay?
It doesn't start off well like that.
No. This is what the quantum computer is supposed to be doing. It puts out this frequency globally through all of these different towers. In the center of the entire thing, we have the synthetic RNA that is sprayed. This puts artificial intelligence into our bodies. This is totally demonic stuff. But remember, these demons are ruled by Lucifer, and they do this to extract energy from humans. The Bible says, as Satan runs about as a roaring lion, seeking those whom he may devour. And that's exactly what's going on with all of this stuff. This is what's happening with transhumanism. We are inspired by this artificial intelligence who's running the program and controlled by the Rothschild globalist programs to destroy human beings. And again, this is to destroy God's creation. These satanic worshipers say, let me participate in your power. These demons, they serve Lucifer, and he gives them stuff. Like Hollywood music industry is a perfect example of this stuff. Of this example, it's so obvious that this Kabbalistic teaching shows them how to call up demons and perform rituals to feed the demonic entities through sacrifice. And in turn, these demons allow the physical reality to change to accommodate the wishes of the person or the persons doing the ritual. This is why so many of the Hollywood people wear this red Kabbalah string around their wrist. They've given themselves over to these demons and this teaching. This is what they've been taught. And so this is what people need to realize, that we don't have to be involved with all of this stuff. But let's go back to Singularity University for just a second. What's going on? You people don't understand that the CIA is primarily a black magic-inspired organization. They actually brought witches in after the remote viewing got shut down back in the 70s and 80s.
After that? Really? I didn't know about that.
They actually brought witches in to do spells. Yep. This is the Tavistock.
Spells and curses?
Pretty much. Yeah, well, they know how to... It's all about controlling the attention field. Tavistock Institute of Human Relations started in 1946, CIA Office of Naval Intelligence. You have these black magic institutions. Look at Silicon Valley. You have Singularity University, which is founded by Ray Kurzweil. He basically is located on the campus of NASA. It's pushing us all transhumanism. Then you got the Google headquarters right down the street from Singularity University. And then right past that, you have the NASA headquarters. And then, of course, it's all packed part of the Black Brotherhood that basically sits on the same street. And what's crazy about all of this stuff is what we've done is we have to reestablish control of the reality that we're in. Here's what we're doing. We give control to the government by voting. And of course, now we all realize that the voting has become like a nightmare because these guys don't do anything they say they're going to do when they get up there because they get blackmailed, or they're basically a bunch of pedophiles that are doing what everybody else is doing up there. So we blame shift. And then the government turns around and they give control to the military. The military gives control to the intelligence community, who gives it to the black magicians, who gives it to the demons, who give it to the AI computers, and that's how they're trying to control the holographic information that goes into the field that we live in this universe that we're in. See, this is how it all ties together. It all gets that, and that's how they're using the Morgellons. See, remember what happened back in...
But not everybody gets it. So let's take an example. You don't have it, I don't have it, but somebody else might. Why don't we have it, Ted?
Well, you don't know if we have Morgellons or not, George. If our immune systems are strong enough, if we don't get Morgellons, it doesn't manifest in our body. It's primarily the people that have been contaminated with heavy metals and vaccines, or have a huge amount of fungus in their body, like with yeast. They're the ones who get in trouble with this stuff. It's kind of like, remember mad cow disease back in the 90s?
Yes, exactly.
It was interesting because they found out that was basically a contamination into the nerves, and that they found that there was just not enough copper in the body in these cows, and they were getting too much mercury, probably from the vaccines they were being shot up with, and this was being attached in the body. Instead of having copper, it attached to mercury into the nervous system. Well, the same thing happens in our bodies. When we don't have enough copper in our nerves, in our bodies, because our bodies are nutritionally deficient, when they put these piezoelectric crystals into us, with the aluminum and the barium, our body incorporates that also into our nervous system. And we become these transmitters through this piezoelectric current that's inside of our body. And then they can control the nervous system, using the military radar. We turn into controlled technical units is what we are. It's kind of like the thyroid has to have fluoride. If you give the thyroid fluoride, as it gets all messed up, it has to have iodine, because the fluoride and chlorine are halogens. And bromine's the same thing. They're really bad for the thyroid glands. That's why you should always be taking a supplement of potassium iodide every single day, at least 12.5 milligrams. But can I give out a website real quick, George? Do you mind?
Of course, go ahead. And by the way, we've got links for you too on our website.
Oh, no, thank you, George. I've got a program. It's called Maximum Health. It's a 6 DVD series, and it comes with 4 books actually. If you want to order that on the website, it's bodybyted.com, and our latest book is Breakthrough Health. That's also available at that same website, bodybyted.com. And if you want to go to healthmasters.com, we have the Hagman blood sugar protocol there. That's healthmasters.com, along with the Dave Hodges protocol. And we also have the immune system protocol to help combat all of this mess we're talking about tonight. And if you guys would like to call us, we'll have somebody there in about 45 minutes. It's going to be 1-800-726-1834. That's 1-800-726-1834. When I was with you a couple of years ago, George, I had so many people call us up and say, thank you so much for giving out a phone number, because we don't have...
Oh, yeah, not everybody has a computer access.
And so that basically tells you how Morgellons works. It tells you that it works by tying itself into the central nervous system. It's a transmitting antenna for the AI, which basically tells the AI what our energy fields are putting out at that particular time. And all the piezoelectric crystals they pump into us, turning us into biorobots, and all this metal they're dumping into our bodies, it allows them to control us in the opposite direction. So it's an interesting field of physics that they don't really talk much about, but this is the technology that we currently have. It's some crazy stuff.
Ted, right before calls here, Sirhan has repeatedly said that he does not remember assassinating or shooting Robert F. Kennedy. He obviously was there. He was probably pushed or programmed to be there, but he says he just doesn't remember. He recanted. I mean, he did say in the beginning, as he was pushed by his lawyers to admit that he did it, but then he said, no, I did not. I don't remember it. Is it possible that he was mind manipulated by some of the things we've been talking about tonight?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, what's interesting about this, let me share this thing with you real quick. This is Scott. That's a great question, George. Let me share this. This is an article from Preston James. He wrote it. He's talking about the way they're controlling us as far as with the chemicals, and he calls it psychotronic firewalls. And what he says on number 14, he says one of the ways they control us are pre-calculated radiation discharges from numerous nuclear plants all over America and pre-planned Fukushima disaster. These engineered releases are based on the CIA, MK, Ultra research on how brain function is modified by radiation injection and inhalation. This is top secret, very sinister, complete evil combination of eugenics and mind control programs. Cancer rates in the United States are admitted to be 1 in 7, 1 in 3 in some areas. This is one of the key eugenics programs by the satanic pedophile ritual child sacrifice human vivisectionist global new world order evil elite who basically are running the whole planet. The newer technologically advanced psychotronics, as in psi power, also known as psychic or spiritual entrainment powers, these are the spiritual blood spells placed on the American group mind think through pedophilia, human vivisection, blood sacrifice, mass murder of war, and programmed mass murder by injection to big pharma. So yes, absolutely, this is totally possible. They also have antennas now they're building all over the country. They've been using subliminal messages for years and years to train us. If you look at the national anthem from the 60s, when they used to play it on the TV, I don't know if I may be older than you, George, you may not remember that.
No, I remember that.
And remember
right at the end of your television broadcast.
You'd be sing-along. Well, now they know that when they've broken those down, they were putting subliminal messages into those sing-alongs, and you can look it up online, and they were actually writing in the script for you to read with them, but you couldn't see it happen so quickly. Trust the U.S. government. God is real. God is watching. Believe in government God. Rebellion will not be tolerated. Obey, consume. Obey, consume. And this is actually in that. You can look at that and watch that online.
How'd you break that down?
I actually watched the video, and then this is an article here that's from True Stream Media. It doesn't have an author on it, and it's one of the people that actually broke down the video and slowed it down and made it just do frame by frame.
Oh, jeez.
Well, no, I watched it. It blew my mind. I thought this is crazy, and this is just what's going on, and this, and so it's just one of those deals that. This is back in the 60s. Now, they admitted to all of this back in the 70s and the 80s when they had the hearings. And, Bill Clinton even apologized for what...
Was it black ops, Ted, or was it just right out there?
It's CIA. But you got to remember who the CIA is. The CIA is the part of the shadow government that was formed in 1934 with the formation of the Exchange Stability Fund, which used billions of dollars of the gold that was seized in 1933 to create this organization to stabilize the U.S. dollar.
And they march to their own tune, don't they?
They don't answer to anybody. It's part of the Rothschild banking cartel. They control the Treasury of the United States. I mean, this is what happened. The United States went bankrupt in 33, and in 34 this thing was started. Then all this mess started going on in the 30s with the Nazis and with the Vril Maidens. They started getting all this advanced technology. And then we had the 1947, the MK Ultra program was just a continuation of the Nazi concentration camp experiments, George. That's all it was. We brought these crazy German scientists over here with their 180 IQs, and then they started the MK. Well, they did. It was nuts. So then they were just doing all this crazy stuff and all this technology on this controlling of people's minds.
They did build our rockets, though, huh?
Well, yeah, but then you remember, these are the same guys that detonated hydrogen bombs into the atmosphere of the world, of the planet, to see if they could blow up the Van Allen radiation belt, to see if they would vent the atmosphere into space.
And bomb London, too. And, well, let's take some quick calls here for you, Ted. Sure. They're really lining up here.
Constant respiratory problems that are now epidemic. Is there any connection between this and the growing epidemic rates of other human diseases that are proven to be connected to highly toxic heavy metal exposure? Lab tests from around the globe have long since proven a mountain of heavy metals like aluminum, barium, and strontium are raining down on all of us. These metals are the primary elements named in climate engineering patents. Yes, this is connected to the dirty, dingy, often checkerboard striped toxic mess that we see in our skies day in and day out. If you don't believe it, doesn't matter. You're still breathing this contamination with every breath. It's building up in your body. Several dozen lab tests from Shasta and Siskiyou counties alone, about 70, I believe, prove this beyond any shadow of a doubt. Why aren't we being told? Why don't meteorologists and institutions like the Weather Channel say a word about climate engineering? Because they're owned by corporations like Blackstone and Bain Capital, corporations all connected to the umbilical of the global power structure. Does anyone believe the paid actors at the Weather Channel would tell the truth about climate engineering, knowing their jobs, or perhaps much more, depend on them saying whatever they're told to say? Perhaps we could ask Weather Channel meteorologist Nicholas Wiltgen. Unfortunately, though, we can't, because he died last month in what Fox News said was, quote, an apparent suicide. His car was crashed through an Atlanta parking garage and plowed into an adjacent hotel. That's a strange way to commit suicide. But perhaps let's ask the meteorologists at the National Weather Service or the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. But no, again, because virtually all the National Weather Service and NOAA government employees are still under a federal gag order. Don't believe me, please. Investigate it for yourself. If you're willing to look at the truth.